Alright, welcome back. Another day, another dollar. We carry on, we keep on going. Right, so what did we do last time? As a quick recap, last time was complete chaos. Um, Last time we did our reformatted our buffer so that it includes the top as well. We've got that working and we've got like a show buffer stuff. That was all in paddle, and then the main thing we did last time was refactor out our entire code where I stripped back all the dealings of the ball inside paddle, put them into game manager and in ball as well. And yeah, that's a couple of lines, but it took me like 2 full days to do that. But now paddle's not dealing with ball, it's just sending messages of like trying to figure out where the ball is and apply the strike, which is calling from ball itself, and then game manager is the one who's respawning the ball. So that's what we did last time. That was a lot of work. What our game currently looks like now. Let's put up my input overlay. So you can see now the buffer is on, it's just not showing. And I've got unlimited lives turned on. Alright, so we've got this going. This is what the game looks like now. So it looks pretty good. Oh my god, I'm bad at it today. There we go. We got a screen shake. Supershot should be triggering. Well, I've not implemented Supershot. All I've implemented for Supershot is the print statement in the output panel, where if it detects if it's a Supershot, it just prints out. But yeah, the game looks and feels nice right now, so I like where it is. I'm glad I went through all that struggle for the last devlog. So architecturally, it actually makes sense now how everything's working together. And yeah, that's good. So the plan now is Supershot. So in ball, from paddle we apply the strike, which is calling this apply strike method inside ball, and then we get the strike info and we check if strike info dot is Supershot. If it is a Supershot, then just print out Supershot. If not, just apply the ball direction and strike power multiplied, and that's the linear velocity of the ball. That's all good. So now I want to try and actually implement Supershot. What it's going to be is perfect aim, and it should allow for like even more speed than before, and maybe some other aspects as well, but the other aspects come later on down the line. So when we have like objects within the game field and different power-ups or whatnot, Supershot will be reacting differently. But for now, I'm just going to try to make Supershot happen, where it's like a extreme speed that happens and stuff like that. I might have to move stuff like, where is it? There's things that I've got, like these strike fields where it's like strike speed, base strike force, max proximity bonus, all of these stuff. I might have to put that in ball as well, or have a reference to that, because a lot of this is happening inside paddle, but a lot of it needs to happen inside paddle as well. So that's why I think I might need a reference to that. Anyhow, I'm gonna try to figure this out, and yeah, I'm gonna try to implement Supershot, try to figure out how it's gonna work, and plug it right in. So I'm gonna get on with that, and we'll see how I get along. Alright, so I'm just gonna take a small break. I've not completely set it up yet, but I've not completely completed the Supershot implementation. But I'm just gonna quickly stop here because I was doing a lot of reading, a lot of looking up and trying to figure out like how to do this. I created some steps, which I got here. Once I realized, okay, so implement a straight line beam from center of pivot to wherever the player is aiming. Then I want to keep this off and only toggle it on during super shot time. Find a way to slow down time during a super shot. So how super shot's gonna work is, sorry, there's a fly on the screen. So how super shot's gonna work? This is all over the place. Okay. How super shot's gonna work? You hit the ball, right? Let's say you just hit the ball. Then time slows down to about like, I don't know, 10% speed. Then a beam sort of appears and you can kind of like aim it wherever you want so that you can get an accurate shot. Once like a 1 second time finishes, then the ball gets transported to that area. But I'll make it look like it's a shot and then hit whatever I like transport it to, and the momentum carries on, right? I can't remember if I explained that before or not. So what I've implemented so far, I did find out about something called a pivot, a raycast, and a line 2D, which I put into my paddle. I've got a pivot raycast and a pivot laser line. So almost all the work, I think all the work that I've been doing is inside the paddle script. I've got my raycast, my pivot raycast, and my line 2D. Alright. Then I've got a boolean called in Supershot mode. So this is going to be false if you're playing the game. And then once it's true, that will make that would once it's true, so you'd set in Supershot mode to true. That would set in Supershot mode to true. It would set the raycast to be enabled and the pivot laser, the laser line, to be enabled as well. And then once 1 second's over, I'm going to figure out a way to turn it off as well. So I'll just turn this to false. But anyways, that done, I've set all my values. So basically setting the raycast to the length of the diagonal of the viewport. That way it's always long enough to detect something. So how raycast works, it's just a straight line, and it will, if it doesn't intersect with something like a collision body or whatever, then it won't say anything. But if it does intersect with something, then it will tell you the first thing that it intersects with, and it will tell you like the position of that place or whatever. So I'll set the max length for the raycast, set the target position, so how long I want it to be, and the direction I want it to face. Set it to enabled, which I can not do anymore because I've got the in Supershot mode. And the laser line points, I'm setting it to the length. This is the laser implementation. So the visual, like the visual of it, I'm setting that to the length of the raycast. And then I'm setting in Supershot mode false. That's for my ready. Then in my, this is all like just basic code so that I can build up on top of this. Then in my physics process that's running every frame, I'm checking if in Supershot mode, then update laser. Update laser is just showing the laser. So if pivot is, if the raycast is colliding with something, set the endpoint to the it has to be in local space, I know that. So get the raycast, the point that is colliding with something, set that to the local space of laser line. If not, then just set it to max length for now, and then the laser line points to the endpoint. And then handle aim, where is it? I've set it so that we get ball direction, strike power, do the whole emit thing, and before that we check is Supershot, I've set is Supershot, give it the distance, find out is it a Supershot or not. If it is, then set in Supershot mode to true. This is Supershot method is something that I just created over here. It's just one line. If the distance of the ball is less than or equal to Supershot radius. I've extrapolated it into its own method because I thought in the case that in the future that I decide to expand upon the what you need for a super shot, then I have one method where I can just go in and tweak it. Anyways, that's that, and then I just use that for is super shot for the info as well. Right, so I've done that. Then also I went into ball, set the layer to layer 2, and then the everything else is layer 1 of the collision mask and layer. But also, where's it gone? Ball out zone, I set the mask to layer 2. Layer is where something belongs, like a collision shape or a rigid body. Which layer does it belong to? And then the mask is detecting, if it's detecting other things, what layer is it trying to detect? So I've set layer 2 to ball, so ball to layer 2, and so that lives on layer 2, and then I've set the ball out zone that it lives on layer 1, which is the playfield, but I've set the mask to layer 2, so it's only detecting whether the ball goes through. Poor explanation, but I'm tired and it's really hot. But you'll be able to see, so the way it's set up now, obviously not the final implementation, but the way it's set up now is it should be normal, but if I hit a super shot, it should show a white beam forever, basically. So you'd see that. So this, yeah, it's fine. I don't know how to get rid of this white beam. I don't even know what it is, but you see that this is the raycast basically. So the red thing there is the raycast, and this white line thing is the line, the pivot laser line. So that's what's happening. And then obviously I got no way to revert that, so let me just reload so you can see it again. So long as it's not a super shot, it's fine. Everything's good. And then let's try to do a super shot. Oh, there we go. And now you can see it's a super shot. Oh, also I had to put the ball on a different layer as well because the raycast was detecting the ball and I didn't want it to detect the ball. So that's good. So the way this should work as a final implementation, let's say I hit the super shot, this aim thing shows, and then everything slows down for about a second, and then I'm able to aim and go, oh, you know what? I want the ball to go there. At the end of 1 second, the ball would be transported to that direction, to that location with full velocity as well. That way, I keep the momentum going of the ball, and in that way, it feels like something substantial happened, basically. So that's what I've got so far with my steps. So I've managed to toggle it on. I need to figure out a way after however many seconds how to toggle it off. Need to do that. Then I need to transport the ball at the end of said seconds. Then what else do I need to do? I need to keep this off, only toggle it on during super shot time. Find a way to slow down time for 1 second or however many seconds during a super shot. Hold the ball at the pivot during this time. Transport the ball to wherever the end of the what's it called? We're gonna find out. It's right here. I think it's called target area. Target position. So transport the ball to the target position once time is over. can make Supershot feel more substantial with visual effects, extra screen shake and stuff like that. That's a bonus as well. So I've still got some more steps to do. Now I'm going to try to figure out a way. I've got it toggling on correctly. I'm going to figure out a way to toggle it off after a set period of time. That's what I'm going to try to do next. But I know I didn't finish the Supershot. It was taking a long time. But I wanted to pause here because I feel like I've done a lot of reading and a lot of like understanding what's going on, so I could explain what I'm doing. Alright, so let me try this now. Alright, so yet again, Supershot is not complete. I think I'm gonna explain what I've done, then end the devlog, because I've been trying to develop this for over a couple of days now, and I'm still like slowly like trying to build it up, and it's still not working. So I think it's best if I explain what I've got now, end the devlog, then the next devlog I can continue on and start finishing it. So I can't even remember what I showed you last time. We've got well, essentially everything that I've been working on has been in Paddle, Game Manager, and Ball. Game Field, not really. I was just doing something else with that. First and foremost, I've set a way to manually trigger a Supershot with the left bumper, right? Because it was getting difficult to get the Supershot, so I just left bumper emit the signal Supershot detected, so that's fine. So I can manually trigger that. I've got these are just temporary names right now, but I've got, find out if in Supershot mode update laser, and laser is just turning on the raycast basically, and then finding out turning on the laser as well and finding out the endpoint and whatnot. Within my tri-strike ball thing, I've got tri-strike ball, if that's true, get all this information. If it is a Supershot, which is my method, then emit the signal Supershot detected. That's fine. And I've got two other methods here. Get pivot position, which just returns the pivot rotator's global position, and get laser endpoint, which returns what the raycast is, the endpoint of the raycast basically. Right, that's fine. In my ball, I've got transport ball. It takes a transport location and it sets the global position to the transport location and sets linear velocity to 0. I'm going to change that. I'm just set it to 0 for now. And then I've got set gravity, where I can just go, call this method set gravity true, so the gravity works on the ball, and set gravity false, and then the gravity won't work. And then the bulk of the work I've been working on is here inside my game manager. And yeah, so we've got on Supershot detected. So when the Supershot detected signal emits, we call this method here on Supershot detected if try get ball. So if a ball exists, is currently Supershot is set to true, and then trigger Supershot slow down, give it the ball, right? Then inside here we emit the signal Supershot has started, and we've also got Supershot has ended. We've set the ball gravity to false, so there's no gravity. timescale, slowing everything down. Then at the end of the timescale, once like 5 seconds is up, I've just set it to 5 seconds for now. Transport ball to the end point of the laser. Set gravity to true. Is currently Supershot, is now false, right? Is that correct? Yeah, that is correct. Now it's false. And then inside my process, every frame, I'm checking if it is currently Supershot and try get ball, then transport the ball to the pivot location. That way the ball follows the pivot while in like the Supershot slowdown, which I might get rid of, but anyways, let me show you what I've got now. So let me turn on my input. There you go. There you can see everything's working. There's this like white line. I don't know how to get rid of it. I need to get, once I finish Supershot, I'm gonna find a way to get rid of this white line. I'm pretty sure it's got to do with the raycast. But anyways, let's do a Supershot. So if you can see here, if I click the left bumper, Supershot works. Look. Now you see a laser, you see the raycast. The ball gets set to the middle of the pivot rotator no matter where I put it, right? And I can aim, and essentially the goal is Supershot gets detected, ball goes there, I aim there, at the end of the 5 seconds, boom, the ball should spawn there, and then I'll do some momentum stuff and applying velocity stuff. However, as you can see, Supershot activated, ball just respawns basically. So if the ball's here, right? Remember the ball's here when I trigger the Supershot. It will just respawn there again. See that? You might say, oh, that's because of the way I've implemented this manual Supershot on the left bumper thing, and I thought so too, right? So let's trigger it. Let's trigger it actually normally, right? Which is going to be difficult. We trigger it normally. All right. So the ball was here, right? So once the time is up, the ball continues on and then goes into the ball out zone. Then looking over this code, trying to understand the logic. I wrote it all myself. I didn't use AI. But the logic does get like, it's kind of like intertwining a lot. And I've been struggling with it a lot. I'm not sure what to do. And then this devlog, like it's been a while since my last devlog. So I thought, you know what, end it here. Upload this devlog. Then the next devlog I can continue on. This is just the process of coding and developing. Sometimes you just get stuck on an issue. So I'm stuck on this issue. It's been so many days I can't remember how to recap this whole episode and what I've done. I've implemented partially the Supershot slowdown. A lot of it is working, but the ball is not acting the way I want it to act. So the plan, I'm going to end the episode here. The plan for the next episode is try to figure out why this line here, ball.transport ball paddle.get laser endpoint, that it's not transporting the ball at all, because it's supposed to move the ball to the location. So that's the plan for the next episode. Yeah, appreciate you guys watching. This one's a struggle, but I'm gonna try get it working. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.